So lovely to have you all on here for another PLA podcast. I have an incredible guest that I am truly looking forward to interviewing today. Srinivas Ellendula, welcome to the PLA podcast. It's such a treat to have you on here today.
Good morning, Dunia.
It's a true treat. I would love to introduce you formally to our audience because they haven't had the absolute privilege of getting to know you like I have in the PLA community. So I just wanted to run through your story, through your background, and through everything that makes you you. So meet Srinivas Ellendula, born and raised in a small town in Telangana, India, where schools had limited resources and exposure to technology. He first encountered a computer in the 12th grade, sparking a lifelong passion for technology. First in his family to pursue higher education, earning a master's in computer applications, built a career from software development to architect and leadership roles with deep expertise in SMP and Workday. Specialized in transforming HR technologies, leading multiple global Workday implementations, currently senior HR technology and Workday leader at Levi Strauss and Co., shaping the HR tech roadmap for 25,000 plus employees across 30 countries. Known for blending technological expertise with business strategy to improve employee expertise at scale. His journey reflects resilience, continuous learning, and adaptability, and he's passionate about inspiring others to forge their unique paths. Srinivas, it's such a treat to have you on here. Welcome once again to the PLA podcast.
Thank you, Dunia.
So I wanted to take us back in time. I love reading the story of yours, of you're in the 12th grade and you come across a computer for the very first time. Take us back and tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, I think in 12th grade, once I got an opportunity to roam around the town where I saw a banner stating they're going to teach the computers. So I was curious. I just entered into the institution and I asked what is about this. Then they told that it is a computer languages. They are going to show us the programming and they are going to teach the programming. Then I got interested and I went to my dad and asked why can't I go for this computer training. Then I joined the course. It's a 1 year course. They taught me Pascal, Basic, something like that. It almost 1 year it passed by. At that time, I got interest as well as curiosity to learn more. I was doing my graduation in finance. Afterwards, I got an opportunity to work with them on Oracle. So was a Oracle is at that time it is a famous. So they are teaching that Oracle, and I joined that course as an assistant. Assistant in the sense I'm not actually the student, but I will be working with them to understand and help the people who are doing the labs. So eventually I got more interested, and after completion of my graduation in finance, I have chosen to move to software, and I completed my master's in Tamil Nadu. That is a story about me.
Oh, that's incredible. I love it. I didn't even know about your background in finance. This is why I love the PLA podcast so much, because I get to know, I think before walking in, I know you all so well. And then all of a sudden I learn all of these tidbits. And I love this piece around being an assistant in this course, because what it brings up as an insight and a reminder to everyone listening is, some doors are, I like to call them side doors. There are opportunities that come to us through these side doors that we would never expect. And I'm just imagining you as a little kid seeing this banner about computers, asking Dad, why can't I be part of this course? It's like, the curiosity, the mystery, the excitement as a kid. And little did you know where it would lead you in your career.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. I would love to know, Srinivas, if someone had told you a piece of advice at that time, what would you wish someone had told you and why?
Okay. The advice I'm thinking about is it's very important the way you communicate, articulate, as well as present yourself. Previously, I used to think that if you have technical skills, you are good, but it really matter of the communication. How you communicate, it tells more than the actual work. I used to believe the results always speaks of themselves. If you are not explain and show the value, other people cannot understand. Your work will be overlooked most of the time. So that is one of the advice. Now, when I say selling yourself, it's not bragging. Selling yourself is nothing but you are telling what you did, how you did, and why you did to the other parties in an understandable way. That is the communication. I would have got that advice when I was a kid. Uh, it should be in different story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that insight. So many people that are in highly technical fields oftentimes, fall for this illusion, which is quite normal. They fall for the illusion of overly focusing on those technical skills and forgetting the power of communication because it's not quite at the forefront of their work. I love that piece of what, how, and why. Like, if you cannot communicate what you are doing, how you are doing it, and why you are doing it, you are missing out on some massive opportunities that are presented to you. And you're far more of an asset on a team when you're able to bring those components into your work, into your day-to-day, into your projects. I think there's a lot of
yeah.
value
When
there.
we are
Yes.
Yeah, when we are working for offshores, communication does matter, but not up to some extent. But when we come to on-site and working with multinational clients directly, it really matters. Executive presence is really required. If you cannot express yourself in executive meetings, you are done. So we need to focus on communication pretty much.
I love that. And I know you've worked with teams that spanned across the entire globe. And I'd be curious to know, so many people now, businesses on an international level. There's no longer, the concept of local business is only very, very few places, like maybe your favorite local coffee shop, are really just focusing on local demographics. But, so many of us are working with teams that span multiple countries, multiple cultures, multiple language, multiple ways of thinking about our work and approach. What would be a piece of advice you would give people that, are either frustrated or are just new to expanding their work on a global scale? What would be some pieces of advice that you would suggest?
Okay, first I will advise know your team so that you can do better. Know your team in the sense what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, where they need help, um, what they are good at. So all these things you need to know. Once you know those things, you can plan easily and you can get the things done from them pretty quick. So that is one of my advice is know your people, listen to them. These are the two things I can think of.
Yeah, I love that. I think that there's some key elements in there, getting to know your teams. And so many of us think, I don't have time and I'm crunched and there are more important things, but what you're bringing as a point is quite important. If I don't take the time to get to know my team and get to know their strengths and what they need support with, then it'll take me 10 times more amount of time in the long run versus taking the time from the very start.
Yeah, you are right, Dunya. As a leader, definitely we need to spend time with the teams. Uh, I have been conducting one-to-one for the past 8 years. Every month, I will have one-to-one meeting with my teams. So sometimes it may be 10 minutes, but definitely it will be there and it should be there for everyone so that they can understand what is going in the team. It's not just because about delivery. You need to know in and out of the what is going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful. And what I love about this one-to-one is so few people actually tend to take the time to commit to one-to-one and really build that relationship on a much more personal level of really getting to know them. How is their day-to-day? How do they want support? How do they work? And I think there's so much value there. As a leader, it's essential, really taking the time to build those relationships.
Yeah, you're right.
I know you had a major project with, your specialty with the tech meets HR. I would love to know a little bit more about that. And I would love for you to share with the audience, for anyone who doesn't know you, your story, your background, and that incredible project you worked on. I'd love for you to describe it and give people a little bit of an insight of what you created.
Yeah, I moved to HR technology in 2013 when I came to US and I did multiple Workday implementations. A few of them are end-to-end implementations. One of the biggest achievement I can say is at Elevance Health. It's a end-to-end implementation for insurance company, Elevance previously known as Anthem. They did implementation from PeopleSoft to Workday. Almost 700 legacy integrations were there. So I coordinated and collaborated with Deloitte, the implementation partner, and we reduced that number almost by one fourth. Almost we end up with 170 to 180 integrations. Mayank is one of the one I closely worked with. We together discovered so many things, as well as we discussed so many things with the client as well as vendors, and we designed the scalable solutions. That is one of the area and I can think of. And very recently in Levi's, we did implement for AI, Microsoft Copilot with the AI. Here we pull the information from our intranet application and presented it in the what did it say, teams. So we have various users, they used to create the tickets for general inquiry, but with this implementation, it is an instance. So instant, whenever you query it, it will pull the data and it will give. It reduced most of the general inquiry tickets, and we are still working on to give more AI features to the employees.
Amazing. That brings me to another question that I have for you today. So many of us have talked about AI, and what I love about asking you in particular, I've asked this question so many times, but why I'm so interested in asking it to you is you have such a good understanding of technology meets the human being in relationships. And so I'd love to get your perspective on how do you see AI influencing, disrupting, shifting, changing, transforming how we work, and in particular, how technology meets our HR, and now with this piece on AI in the midst of it all.
Okay, let's take like electricity. So in olden days, we don't have electricity. Once we got the electricity, without electricity, we cannot think of. It is going to happen like that only in AI. So everywhere, every work is depending on AI nowadays. So taking from documenting any articles as sending any emails also nowadays, everybody is depending on AI. It's powering everything. It can be used to speed up your work, as well as it can be used to automate a few of the manual processes. It also sparks creativity in the students. Sometimes students also use AI to elaborate their idea. They are going to give their idea at high level and asking AI to elaborate and give more ideas. Based on the pattern we give, AI is going to think and give the results. It's like what you trained the AI, what type of data you trained, and how you used it. So that depends the results. So whenever you use it for the HR purpose, it is going to give the HR related queries. For the past few months, I have been working on the AI, and I trained my system, and the results are amazing. Even in my personal work, I trained my chat GBT, and now whenever I ask any question, it is giving very accurate results and reliable results. It's not just you need to dependent on AI, but you need to use it. However, you need to more cautious on what it is giving. You need to review and approve before using it. That is one of the thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's some key elements that you brought in. There will be life before AI and life after AI. I think that's a key element, in so many ways. And I love that piece of it's how you prompt it and for what you're using it for is the types of results you're going to get out of it. And so really you can allow yourself to train it like you have and you've described and have it really implement solutions according to what you've prompted it for. So proper prompting is important. So the AI, proper prompting for AI is so key. But like, you also bring a super important point that actually no one else has mentioned, which is in some ways so evident, but we overlook is, reviewing the results from AI is so important, and it's really key. Srinivas, I'd be curious to know the next piece around it would be if we look back at your career and you in some ways reflect back and think, what were the biggest challenges you've had, and what were the biggest learnings you've had from all of it? I'd be curious to know.
Okay, one of the biggest challenge I think of is learning through the challenge, especially through technology shifts. Whenever there is a technology shifts, generally we used to think about how the technology is going to work and how it is going to improve the work. But the harder part is bringing the people along with that. So when you create a software or when you bring a software, we need to understand we need to understand the people who are using it, how they are using it. We need to build trust on them. So in software industry or any industry, when you take any new software or anything, people resistant to use it. So because they feel they are going to miss the thing and they may not be aware of what the features are there. That is the reason they feel uncomfortable. But bringing them to up to the speed by helping them to understanding in their perspective, talk to them
Wow.
why and why they are unable to use or what help they need. So these are the few things I think of. And one more thing, small wins, understanding the software will bring a big thing. So whenever we implement new things, we need to have proper documentation in the sense how to use that software, how to contact any people if they need any help.
Mm.
So that really matters. So over
Wow.
the time, what I learned is the change is not just technology. The change is about the people. So once I made this shift, adaptation got easier,
Mm.
projects succeeded faster than previously, teams got stronger. These are the things I observed.
I love that. I hope that's the quote of today's episode. Technology isn't just about technology. Technology is about the people. I think that that for me is a mic drop moment. And I think this is why I love talking to you about this, because you really understand both worlds. And this is where the major question is, how do we keep our humanity and we keep the connection to people while living in a world that is deeply influenced by technology and the change. And I love that piece that you brought of the importance of guiding people through, teaching them how to use the technology. Where can it be implemented? Where it might not, where it may still have some limitations and it can't be. How to provide proper documentation to allow them. And it's really thinking of, we're not just thinking about the technology, we're thinking about the users, which is really what we built technology for in the first place, was to support the human being, was to support the person in their work, what they were trying to achieve. And so I love this. Yeah, go for it, Srinivas.
Yeah, without the user adoption, technology won't succeed. So even you spend millions of dollars on bringing a new software or anything, but it is not used by the people, then there is no point of spending that much, right? So let's take an example of when we purchase any bike for our kids. If they are not using, there is no point. It's
Mhm.
similar to that one only. Yeah. User adaptability is key here.
Yeah. Wow. And part of me wants to do an entire episode with you just on user adaptability. I feel like we just got into it. And I feel like so many people need to start thinking about this, because we're overly focused on AI, we're overly focused on the actual technology itself, and we're not thinking about user adaptability more than anything. So important.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I can say even less than 0.01% of the AI which is already invented, people are using it. Let's take ChatGPT itself. Even the top person who is using 10 hours, who is spending 10 to 12 hours, he is even not touching 5% of what they offer.
Unbelievable. Wow. I need to soak that in for just a moment. Incredible. Wow. And so I'm curious, to get your perspective. Where do you think AI is taking us? And yeah, how do you see the future from your perspective?
Okay, my perspective, the future will be human will be depending on AI
Mm.
unless something goes wrong and government stops using AI. Yeah, day to day without, yeah, at least you are going to use 1 hour on AI to do your work.
Mm.
Let's take any auditor. He will be using some automation tool to get the audit work done, and he will be reviewing that results.
Wow.
The document writers, they will get the documents from AI and they will update their vision on top of that one. So like that, it is one, I can say, hand in hand. So AI will be hand in hand with the human in the future.
Yes, I love that. Wow, it is fascinating. And in some ways it ties us back to the example that you gave earlier with this piece of, now we can't really imagine our life without electricity. Like we are our entire life is so intertwined with the use of electricity. Like you and I wouldn't be on this call today without it. These lights wouldn't be on, the house wouldn't be warm. So all of these pieces, like we've grown quite dependent on it. And you brought a really subtle point earlier in our conversation where it's important, even though our life is intertwined with technology, it has been intertwined with electricity, and now it will be intertwined with AI. How to create this life where we're not fully dependent on it, even though it is part of our everyday. There's some, and it's a very delicate balance that may not actually be possible, but there's something to think about with it. I Yeah, go for it, Srinivas.
Pause.
Amazing. And so I'm curious, Srinivas, one of my favorite questions to ask on the PLA podcast, and has always been, and will probably always be, is what kind of legacy and impact do you still want to leave in this world? I know so many of us have this why, this little burning desire that's inside our heart, whether it's work related or personal. I'd love to hear yours.
Okay, here and think of do your best and always help other people. These are the two things I always trust. Um, Serve the people as service to God. That is the motto I follow. So these are the things I can think of.
It's so good. I think there's it's such a gift, and in some ways it's such a testament to your work. I love the blend of technology at the service of people, being at the service of people, and being a channel for God, channel for the divine. It's like really being in service in our lifetime. And anyone who's gotten to know you I've had the absolute privilege over the last few months, and I'm hoping that people that have watched this podcast are either getting to know you for the first time or have known you for years and are still learning so much about you. And I'm sure anyone who really knows you will say, absolutely, that resonates. I'd be curious, Srinivas, we met through the PLA community. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Like, what originally brought you to a community like PLA?
Okay. Real thing is, I want to discover myself. I don't want to learn new things, but I want to discover myself.
Wow.
When I talk with Vamshi, I felt okay, he will be the one who can help me to discover myself. For the past 9 years, I have been discovering myself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How I can overcome the weakness and convert them into the strength. These are the areas we are working, and it's really giving the results.
Amazing. I think that there's so much value that we get when we are committed to working on ourselves. And so there's a couple things. Some people never ask themselves this question. Some people spend their lifetime asking themselves that question, but don't quite know where to go with it. So I think that you fall into this beautiful third category where I'm so committed to getting to know myself, to learning deeper. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And I'm committed to finding a place that is going to help me achieve that. And that is a testament to your dedication to growing. And what has been the biggest takeaway from PLA so far?
Biggest takeaway from PLA, it is going to be, yeah.
It doesn't have to be just one. You can pick. It doesn't have to be the best one, the biggest one. But what is definitely something that you're thinking, you know what, from PLA, this has been an insight or a teaching that I've gotten out of it?
Okay, the best one I can think of is uh, the way we network with the people, the way we understand other people, how you connect with other people. This is the area I felt this is one of the best area. Along with that, we do have some Yeah, I can think of that only, Dunia.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there, what's interesting is as you share this, it makes me think and this is the first time I'm getting this insight. It makes me really think what we find is actually something that we recognize. And then why I'm saying this is it's so interesting. You're the first person to say, the depth of that connection in PLA, like learning to network, learning to really understand one another and the power of connections. And I'm like, of course, it would be Srinivas that has a background in technology and HR and how to be at the service of people that would be the one to share this. And so I'm like, okay, what we end up finding in these communities and these opportunities and these resources are really, in some ways, just an echo of what is truly valuable to us as a person.
Okay.
And I just wanted to thank you for your time, Srinivas, for sharing all of your insights and your wisdom on the PLA podcast today. It's been an absolute treat to get to know you further, to get to know your story. And I'm going to put up on the screen for anyone who's curious about PLA and would like to join the next free training. We host them so often, and people get a ton of value from them. Even if you just attend this free training, there's so much insight that you will get. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for anyone who's curious. You can scan the QR code and find out when the next one is. So I'll pop that like this. Srinivas, what a treat to have you on here. As always, I wanted to thank you for your time. Thank you for your experience, for your wisdom, and for being my guest today on the PLA podcast.
Yeah. Thanks, Dunia, for hosting this. Thank you.
It's a true treat, and we'll catch you so soon. And don't forget, everyone who's been watching the episode, if you are coming across this beautiful experience and this tool, this resource that we call AI, make sure that it's at the service of people.